Hey guys, Omni here. We're back with Legends of Tomorrow. Last week's episode was pretty interesting. We were introduced to Charlie's sister, Atropos, and we learned that the mentor who has been guiding Astra and Hel all of this time is the third sister, Lachesis, who's been really manipulating her and John to try to get these pieces of the loom back together so that they can reclaim their status as the fates of destiny once again. So a lot of fun stuff last episode, some playing around on a false supernatural set, some teases. We get to see the car, a couple of hints there and there. No Sam and Dean, nothing like that. But it was a pretty fun episode. We saw the death of Bayrod towards the end when he didn't have his totem while Zari was doing her little spirit quest into the totem to commune with her past self from the original timeline, left him unable to defend himself. And we're really seeing the, the fallout of that in this with her having this survivor's guilt and then coming to terms with this. We see a lot of themes coming around in this episode carrying over from the last one. We also open up the episode. So if you haven't seen the episode, remember, we're going to be diving into it. If you haven't seen this week's episode, be sure to tune out and come back once you have, because I'm going to be spoiling some stuff. So here we go. So the episode opens with Charlie finally giving us some clues about her backstory a little bit more. And we flash back to ancient Egypt where she's meeting with Enchantress. And she leaves a piece with the final piece, the third piece of the loom with her, and entrusts it with her to take care of it and hide it. The gang is working together to try to figure out to locate it. Of course, this is John's primary priority at this point. And he starts to perform this circle where they all kind of gather around, channeling all their auras so they can try to summon its location. During this time, we're seeing some hints and visions of some what's the word I'm looking for here? Some repercussions of what happened to Sarah when she confronted Atropos, when she got hit with her full godly presence. She was able to survive it, where any other mortal dies the instant they see her true form. And we're seeing some instances of that. Gideon even diagnoses it and sees that her brain activity and the part of her brain that like perceives time is like all jacked up. She's seeing some things ahead of when they're happening. She's seen like glimpses, I wouldn't say glimpses into the future. She's seen things as they are happening, slightly before they are happening. Like before she reaches for a drink, she in her brain sees her reaching for a drink. And then a couple seconds later, she's reaching for a drink. Similar things happen when she's in this circle. She sees Ava running over in a circle around the group towards her. And it's just then that she passes out. When she collapses, that's when Ava goes around the circle coming to her. So I'm really curious to see how that all pans out. But because they broke the circle, the spell is only half complete, and John and Zari are the only two that get sucked into this portal and transported back in time in the same house in John's home in that mansion, but at a different place in time. And the ring is there. It was summoned there, but because the ritual wasn't completely fulfilled, it's lingering in time. And it's a really interesting play on this, too, because once Astra and Lachesis learns of this whole situation, she sends all of the encores that they still have available after them. And we get to see some fun people check in. They check into it. Apparently at this place in time, the mansion was like a bed and breakfast or a boarding home. So John and Zari arrive there and they check in with another mysterious stranger. And meanwhile, the team's tracking this thing and they're seeing that more and more alerts are going off about encores being detected. And then the encores themselves are now time traveling to that location, meaning they're completely aware of where John went, which ties into how Lachesis now has John's coin is able to track him. So they send Henry VIII, Bonnie and Clyde, Black Caesar, and who was the other one? Brutus, the man who assassinated Julius Caesar, all there trying to find this situation. And funny thing, while they're there looking for things, they're trying to poke around. They're like, John's using his little magic to detect where the ring might be, and it takes him to this, the person they checked in with, he went under the pseudonym Dr. White. And they go to his room because that's where his spell is pointing him to. So they have Zari lure him out. And while John's inspecting the room, she takes him down and he's like feigning a cold or something because she heard he was a doctor. And it turns out he's Jack the Ripper. So all of them are there for this, but just as they figure that whole thing out, and Zari starts to feel eerie about it because he's getting all like stabby, like, I was like, oh, I'm getting some creeper vibes off this guy. John manages to show back up because I guess when he's investigating the room, he discovers that this guy is Jack the Ripper. So he breaks his neck and kills him. But of course, because he's an Encore, he just kind of snaps back to life, and they tie him up and lock him in a closet. So John dresses like Jack the Ripper and goes down to confront before he does that, he talks to Zari. He's like, you got to be careful. I can't be taking care of you all this time. And Zari says this nice little comment, which I thought was funny because John doesn't know the whole situation with the totem and all that or whatever. She's like, I don't need you to protect me. I have a tiny me inside of my totem that'll protect me. And he was like, I don't even know what to say to that. And it was just a little moment that I thought was really funny. But he goes down, and he goes down as an imposter Jack the Ripper, introduces himself as such, and they unite all together, and he poses as Jack to get himself in with this group to try to kind of use them to find the ring, because as a bigger group, they might have an easier chance at finding it. They are all equipped with hell weapons. Bonnie and Clyde have two different guns, one a revolver and one a shotgun. We learn that Black Caesar's got a Enchanted Hel Compass, which will help him guide to things he's looking for. Very Jack Sparrow-ish. Brutus, of course, has an enchanted dagger. And as they're talking about it, they come to a conclusion that, we were all told that whoever finds the ring gets to reign over Earth. So it's before John actually gets them riled in and reined in under their control that Clyde is like, well, I mean, the more here, the more competition, and just blows Henry VIII away and erases him from existence with his hell shotgun. Everybody gets into a fray after that, and everybody's like in this Mexican standoff with all their hell weapons pointed at each other. John's got the hell scalpel from Jack the Ripper pointed at somebody, and of course Brutus is pointing his dagger in John's back, and John makes a little comment. It's like, how fitting. And then Zari enters the room to save John in this situation, dressed as Cleopatra, and takes command of the situation. It was really cool. I like how it all played out. This was a really fun episode. I really liked the pacing and the way this whole thing panned out. And she gets them all in check and reins them all in with her influencership, her skills that she's gained over being an influencer, I guess. Really weird way to get into it, but it works in the end. In the meantime, Ava, Mick, and Gary work up with a conjuring spell that they're just tired of waiting while they're seeing all these Encores head towards John's location, and they just decide to say, screw it, we're going to hell, and we're going to talk to Astra. Ava equips herself with the hell sword from Genghis Khan and goes down there, and they confront her. And that's when Astra, when they're poking around asking questions, they're like, I haven't even sent any Encores to Earth since I last spoke with John. And that's when she finds out all of her soul coins have been stolen, which leads her to suspect that Lachesis has betrayed her, and she doesn't even know her true identity, apparently, until this point, until the end of the episode. But she baits Ava in this sob story where they kind of have a similar backstory where they were both kind of betrayed by their mentors, so they bond, and it allows her to lower Ava's guard down a little bit, thinking that they're bonding a little bit, because Ava's trying to get her to, like, command your own destiny. Please, make your own choices. But she manages to get the hell sword away from her and takes it to go confront Lachesis about the whole situation, about John's coin being missing, because she apparently didn't notice that the one she's wearing around her neck right now is Vandal Savage and not John's. So she confronts her about it, and that's when Lachesis reveals her plan for Astra was to groom her to be the third fate to replace Clotho, Charlie, as their trifecta of sisters to rule over fate and destiny. Being like, think bigger, Astra. Forget about your mom. Think about the cosmos. We could rule destiny itself, craft life and fate ourselves with the loom. We'd have all the power at our hands. She does play into it. She says like, oh, that sounds awesome. But you know what? Only one condition. I want John's coin because he's my toy to play with. And Lachesis, of course, falls for that very easily and hands over John's coin, which then Astra leaves and then rejoins the gang and even returns to the Wave Rider with Ava at the end. Before all that comes to a head, though, John and Zari are still dealing with everybody. While they're separated from the group, they kind of have a bonding moment over their survivor's guilt, their regrets, everything, and then they kind of come to the conclusion because every time they move to a location, John detects it somewhere else. The ring can't be found, and he figures out, or at least assumes, that the spell that Enchantress put on the ring was one to not allow anybody actively looking for it or wanting to find the ring. It'll not come to them. There's no way they'll find it. They'd have to not want the ring in order to find it. So they start to get drunk and just try to forget everything. And that's when they kind of go into all of their deep-seated neuroses and all their kind of like faults and their regrets, their fears on what's going on right now. Zari feels guilty for what happened with Bayrod because she was using the totem at the time. He didn't have it to defend himself. Really sweet moments. And now we're getting into this territory because it all leads into this moment where they're kind of slightly intoxicated and they're having this moment, and John and Zari almost kiss before John looks out the corner of his eye and sees the ring on a table. In the meantime, in the background, Bonnie and Clyde have just been one at a time offing the other encores because they just want it all for themselves, regardless of all this. And, you know, John's cover gets blown and he falls into place with it. Bonnie and Clyde end up getting him, and Zari ends up saving him. Thankfully, finally herself in this form, activating the wind totem to save John. And then they manage to really, out of like sheer like luck, kill all of the encores with their own hell weapons. It was really funny. It was like just lucky and happenstance and just really poor writing, but I still found it pretty enjoyable how it all kind of concluded. It was really zany and cartoony and in a fun way. But it's creating this weird trifecta because Zari's got these subconscious feelings for Nate. Nate knows the truth about Zari and his affections towards Zari, the old version and the new version. While the new version of Zari seems to be crushing on John now. So yay, we have a love triangle in this now. We needed that. Damn it. But that Ava shows up just at the end after they finally got the ring. They collect up all of their hell weapons. So now they're all kind of equipped with these multiple hell weapons. They've got the scalpel, they've got the revolver from Bonnie, they've got the shotgun from Clyde. I assume they have Brutus's dagger and Black Caesar's compass. I don't know what you can do with the compass except for find things. But yeah. Well, Astra also brought the sword back because she is back with the gang. She's now part of the team, helping them deal with the fates and get John the loom so that he can save her mother and in turn Bayrod in the end too as well, assuming that whole thing comes to a head. But yeah, overall, fun episode. I don't like these love triangle things. I don't see the point of having this romantic kind of tease with her and Constantine. Not necessary, definitely unneeded. Feel like that's just kind of padding to kind of extend some of these plot lines out further in some of the later episodes to draw out some of the storylines for the seasons. Not seasons, this season, I would assume. But yeah, that's my biggest complaint in this. There's a nice little scene while they're in hell after Astra got the jump or kind of got the overhead on Ava and the gang between them and Mick talking about, it's like, we better get out of this so I can see my daughter. She's got a soccer game. I wasn't invited, but I will be there. Still trying to show him like evolve and grow that relationship. I actually like that storyline. It's growing on me. I don't know. I like this episode though. Aside from the John Zari thing. Other than that, everything else is fine. There was a lot of John in this episode. Oh, also, the housekeeper, the person who's actually checks in people into the hotel, ended up being Enchantress in the end. John caught on to it too. I don't know if he knew the whole time. He was like, you seem to be intervening a little bit. You're not supposed to be doing that. And she's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. That was pretty interesting. It was definitely interesting that they introduced an Enchantress into the Arrowverse as well. So a version of her. It was pretty cool. I like that. I like when there's a nod to another character. Are we ever going to get a Zatanna? I want to see Zatanna in live action somewhere, sometime, and with John. Do it. Do it, you cowards. That's it. That's all I got to say about this episode. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? What do you think it's going to go from here? Astra's on the team now, I guess, for the time being. Yeah, sound off in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. We'll carry on the conversation after the video, and I'll catch you guys when the next episode of Legends of Tomorrow comes. Thank you guys for stopping in. I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.